you may be. I hope this finds you well. I'm using a new computer. I'm using my laptop this morning. So hopefully good morning. Hopefully the video is better today. So thank you so much. I am so excited to be here, and I hope wherever you are finding yourself breathing through each given situation. And today I want to help by talking about what you can trust, okay, and what that means to you and all that kind of stuff. Because trust can be a heavier word for some people. I often have people come to me and have sessions, and that word can be a bit of a trigger. And so what trust is it's a sense of confidence or esteem that you can stand on because you've had experiences that you've grown through. And you've brought some of those teachings from those experiences with you. And that basis of who you are in working through situations can be considered trust. So don't let the word scare you or make you feel a little bit, off, but allow yourself to grow through it and learn from yourself. Okay? So that self-confidence and self-esteem piece, it's that building of knowingness within you and having the capacity to tap into it at any given time when you need it. Okay? What we can trust is, I'm hoping after my little talk today, the first thing that'll come to you is you, like me, right? I can trust myself in any given situation. You can trust yourself, and I really hope that we can get you there. And if not today, then, every time you think about it and every time you bring awareness to it, it's going to be more practice. And these things are practice. My goodness, we are being, thrown so much information all the time. And even if it's not about the virus, even if it's not about being a NICU parent, we're constantly bombarded by information, whether we do it to ourselves or not, it's there. And what can we trust, right? I have a question for you. Do you trust yourself or others easier? It's a good question, right? It's something that I've had to explore for myself, and I explore with my clients. I explore it even with, family and friends who are struggling. And figuring out, I think it's like the chicken or the egg. Which comes first? Do you trust yourself first so that you trust other people? Or do you trust other people to build trust within yourself? For me personally, it's trusting myself so that I can see the trust in others, because it's a relationship. I have a relationship with myself, and I have a relationship with other people. Sometimes it's a beautiful instant connection, and sometimes it takes time. And that's okay. NICU parents are sort of thrown into trusting the doctors and the nurses that are taking care of their babies because we don't know how to do what they're doing, right? If we knew that, we wouldn't need NICU, but we need the NICU in order for all of us to survive. And even when, very sadly, some of our little kiddos go away and don't stay with us, there still is a trust in what has been done to help them have the option, and sometimes it's just not meant to be. And good morning, Lay. Thank you. Yes, thank you. You trust yourself more than others. That's trust. You good friends. Oh, thank you. Building up the awareness around the trust. So, when we have medical professionals who we're trusting in the moment, and sometimes that will morph over into after we get home with our babies, we can refer back to what that doctor said because it really made sense to us in the moment. And that's taking glimmers of growth and glimmers of light out of the situation so that we can build our trust, right? For others, but also for ourselves, because then the information creates a knowledge within us so that we have that and carry it with us for any other situation that may come. Even if it's not the exact same situation, we can say, oh, okay, well, I learned that and I grasped those things in my past, and so I'm going to take these with me and have in my backpack. And it's going to work for right now, or maybe this one doesn't work for right now, but that's okay. It's still there for when I need it. Trusting others on that intimate level, besides being, placed in a NICU and having to trust them wholeheartedly from the beginning, from the very moment, even before some of us have even met, held, seen our babies, they are already taking care of our kids, and there's a trust there. Having that for yourself takes practice. Having that as a go-to for who you are, and being able to utilize it when you need it without really even knowing that you're doing it, is a beautiful spot that I would love for you to be in if you're not already there. When we find that personal connection, it's a sense of knowing and love that we have, not only for ourselves in the situation, but the other people involved. Like I was saying, trust is a built relationship. When I was first home with Sky, that first night out of the NICU, he was crying and I had tried to feed him. I had tried to see if his diaper was wet. I changed him. I changed his clothes. I put the lighting differently. I did all sorts of stuff and he wouldn't stop crying. And now looking back, I realized it, shortly after this too, but that first night I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust that I could do it because I had had 2 months being a mom, but not mothering really, like in the NICU. And yes, I was mothering. We were kangaroo care and I was there every day besides when I got sick, but it felt like that first night was totally foreign and I didn't trust myself in that situation. Even though I had the tools to do it, I just didn't connect with it. I needed that outside confidence, and I needed the monitors to tell me if he was stopping breathing and that's why he was crying, or if his heart rate was too low or too high, or like we didn't have the monitors anymore, and that's what I had trusted for so long. That's where my confidence had come from, and now they were gone and it was just me. Well, and my husband, but he was sleeping. So after that first night and some of the other challenges that came with that moment, with that transition, I should say, right? Bringing him home out of the NICU, I recognized within myself that I could do it. So the confidence came. The confidence to trust what was happening up here and also in my heart. And for me now, my heart is my biggest indicator of trust. And I'll get into that in a second. But when I was building that trust for myself, knowing that, okay, he's going to survive, I'm going to be okay. We are going to be okay as a family. It really hit me that I had been relying on the outside world and people and helpers to give me the tools I needed. And I just needed to stand on those tools and know that they were always here for me, right? I'm just going to take a drink of water. If you have any questions or comments, just let me know, okay? So that piece of connecting with the heart and connecting with the self to trust, I use the feelings. I use the idea of how does it feel when I'm given information that's new to me and I have to make a decision on it. You know, like right now in our world, we are bombarded by information on the virus. And what do we trust? Can we trust the news? Can we trust that they're telling us everything that we need to know? Probably not, because have they ever really? But where do we find that balance of knowingness so that we can make the right decisions? Well, my friends, you have all the tools you need to make the right decisions, even though this seems like a new situation, and it is for us. We have the education, and whether you're a NICU parent or not, we have been given over the last month and a half, wear gloves, wear a mask. If you're going to go out, like wash your hands as soon as you get home, wash your groceries off, like do all these things, soap and water, soap and water, soap and water, right? My husband and I, even after grocery store shop, we get out of our clothes, they go straight into the washing machine, and we get into the shower. Like, we really are aware. But no one has told us that, but that's what we trusted ourselves to know, and that's what we built for ourselves, because we want to take every precaution not to end up back in the hospital. Man, that first 6 months when Sky was home from the hospital, we had so many people tell us, well, just go out to a play group. You need to get out. It's for your mental health. Like, go for a walk and do all these things. I was so scared, and I did not do those things because I knew for me that if I did it, I would have more worry that we would end up in the hospital again. I didn't want Sky to get a cold. I didn't want Sky to get anything. I didn't want any of us to get anything. And yes, my husband was going to work, and we were very cautious. But it was us trusting ourselves, right? I had to trust myself when a friend said, you really should get out and go and do something. Yeah, that could have been true, and maybe it was if I hadn't been in the hospital for 2 months with my son. But because of my experience, I was allowing myself to sit in my knowing and feel what I needed to feel, what felt good versus what felt bad. And going out and being in a play group felt bad. And I connected that with myself. And we're all going to have a different reaction. Our shoulders could get tight. Our throat chakra could really get, blocked up. We get that lump in our throat. Mine is my stomach. I get a tight stomach, and then my back hurts because it's so tight, right? And when that happens, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, let's I know what I need to do. I know how I need to stretch or how I need to sit or stand. And I know now, having practiced it for 5.5 years, I know how to connect with my body. So listening to those sensations, recognizing and making notes, right? If you're having having more of a harder time taking the mental notes and keeping them and recognizing the pattern, then take some physical notes. It could be on your phone or whatever's easier for you. But then having that to go to and to look at is going to help you find the things that you need to work on that can be beautifully unwrapped so that you can find those light beams of growth that you can take into trusting yourself. Okay? When we learn what is best for us, there's a settledness within us. And when people want to come over and you feel it's wrong, you can, when you have that settledness within you, you can gracefully and with love decline. Even if it's a beautiful offer of, oh, well, I'm going to come over and make dinner for you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We're just not welcoming anyone in the house right now. We're still worried about germs. And we would love to take a rain check. It can be as easy as that. And sometimes that's not easy. And it wasn't easy for us in the beginning. Again, practice can make it easier. When we have the feelings and the sensations that can be our guides and our indicators, it's helpful to stop second guessing yourself. Did I do the right thing? Did I say the right thing? Are they going to be mad at me? These are all really good questions, and these are all real things. And especially now when there are some places who are thinking about going back into opening businesses, people want to be visiting because we've been apart for so long. We want to get back together. Like, how do we do this? And people are just wanting to jump in the deep end. And some of us are like, oh, like, this is not cool. Like, this does not feel right. And those body sensations and those feelings that you notice are going to be really, really helpful for you to just gracefully hold your own space, because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to morph into something different. And even virus aside, we can get germs anytime. And our babies, especially those just new to the NICU, or when we're still medically compromised or have complex issues, they are a constant worry. So finding that self-centered feeling, that not self-centered, but like that centered feeling within the self, can bring some beautiful, beautiful ease into your life, right? When you have taken notes, and if you're still building on learning how to trust yourself, take these notes to someone that you feel comfortable with. Could be a partner, could be a parent, could be a really good friend, and sort of unpack them with that person. I had the honor of finding a very good counselor. Even though I'm a counselor myself, I needed someone outside of myself because I was going through stuff. I was going through my trauma and my own experience. You can't be your own counselor most of the time. So I found someone who I could go to with these lists, with these head notes or physical notes, and say, wow, like, what is my problem? Why can't I get over this? Or why am I being so hard on myself? And we were able to unpack them so that I could find those moments of growth, those glimmers of helpfulness, because we can help ourselves all the time, but do we allow it, right? Find someone who you can talk to about that list. And, you can even bring them the list and say, okay, I need you to be super, super gentle with me. This is a big deal. I'm working on this. And if you have something you want to work on, I'd love to help you. Create that reciprocal relationship. Doesn't have to be one-sided all the time. And allow for yourself to hear the other person's perspective. Really listen to what they might be saying, because we are all learning from each other all the time. And when you do this, when you can create a shift in the way that you are viewing yourself and trusting yourself, it's going to be seen in all other aspects of your life. The people in your house, your children especially, are going to feel it. They're going to see mama or dada or grandma being their truer self. And how much do each of us want that? Like, to be who we are here to be is a beautiful idea. It's a beautiful concept. And bringing that confidence and that self-esteem into the process of trusting yourself, it's going to get you there. Now, when you are doing this work and when you can vocalize trusting yourself, so this might not be happening very much right now, but you could be having like video chats with doctors or having appointments online. But I remember when we were in a new specialist's office and we hadn't met them before. They were, reading our file sort of in front of us, and they were asking all these questions, and then they not gracefully voluntold us what to do. I remember getting quite red in the face. I don't know if I get red, but it felt like I was getting red. But having had a few years of new doctors constantly, I was able to say with grace and kindness, I hear what you're saying, I appreciate your thoughts, and that doesn't work for us. So do you have any other ideas? Or we have heard that before. We can take it into consideration. You always have time. You always have time to process things. Well, hopefully in doctor's appointments. If there's an emergency, then you might not have time. So that's a different situation here. But being able to find your basis of trust within yourself is going to give you a really nice new way to accept or decline other people's support, right? And use love and grace, because that's what we all need right now. We don't need any more like confrontation or anger or worry. We don't need to put that on each other. We need to just gracefully say, wow, that's a really thoughtful idea. I'm not sure if it's going to work for us right now, but we'll take note of it, And just like, no, I don't want you in my house. Thank you so much. Could I take a rain check? Your kiddos are going to see this. And they are going to learn that as opposed to an alternative that might be more difficult for them to work through later in life. When we can be an example of this beautiful trust within ourselves, our kids absorb it and can be that for themselves. And it's really, really cool. My husband and I have seen Sky. He's 5.5, and we've seen him trust himself. We've seen him not trust himself because he's still learning. And he's still learning how he does stuff because of his left side. And it's nice to know that he doesn't get down on himself, as far as we can tell, because he's had some basic building blocks to tell himself that he's good how he is and he can trust his decisions. My husband and I have practiced this, and it takes practice. Don't think it's going to happen overnight. Hopefully you have some building blocks from today. Do you have any other questions? Leigh, I still see you're here. Thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. And if for those of you who watch this afterwards, I love you too. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for being here, both watching the video, giving yourself time, but also for being here in the world when we need each other the most. And giving yourself those pieces of growth, those moments of confidence and love and light to build on that trust, right? Those sensations. Thank you, Leigh. So if you don't have any questions, I will sign off for today. My direct messaging is always open. Message me, comment below. Tell me what you want me to talk about. Okay, I do these videos Wednesdays and Saturdays here on Facebook at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I do them also on Instagram at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Just want to be more one-on-one with you guys. And I'm also part of a really neat sort of like brainstorming group. It's 4 of us, my friend from Colorado, a new friend from California, and a new friend from Switzerland. And her name is Ronja Sakata, Ronjasakata. She has here on Facebook a page called Joy is My Compass. And the 4 of us get together weekly and we talk about, a different aspect of bringing joy in turbulent times. So whatever you'd like us to talk about, there are some videos still on her page. I think they're all recorded there. And we're going to get together this next Friday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time on Facebook on her page, Joy is My Compass. She'll be open to the public, and we welcome everyone and anyone. And the same here with my NICU family and myself, Leanne. If you're a NICU parent, if you're not a NICU parent, I am so grateful for you to be watching this and loving yourself. Okay? I love you. Talk to you later. Thanks for being here again. Bye.